Hi there, I'm Katie Jones of Agape Investing. In this video, I want to share with you two of my favorite tools for time management. When I started my small business as a blogger and now transitioned into a money coach, I really seriously struggled with managing my time effectively. It always felt like I was coming and sitting down at my computer and wondering what the heck I needed to do for that day. It was really hard to say no to certain things and figure out what was important to say yes to. But now, after implementing this whole new system for tracking each one of my commitments, I have seen a radical transformation in the way that I use my time, both for my business as well as in my personal life. Time management is crucial for Christians. We're called to be really good stewards, and typically when we think of stewardship, we think of money. However, stewardship really refers to all of our resources, and that includes how we use and manage our time. If time management is something that you struggle with as well, stick around because I'm going to share with you my two favorite tools for time management and how to use them to actually become a productive person in both your work and personal life. The first tool I want to share with you and where I highly recommend you begin your time management journey is the book called Redeeming Your Time by Jordan Raynor. Jordan teaches the 7 biblical principles for being purposeful, present, and wildly productive. What I really love about this book is not only is it based in biblical principles, but Jordan actually takes these biblical principles, shows us how Jesus is the ultimate model for time management. He is just so purposeful and present and wildly productive, just like he says on his cover. But he then takes those principles and shows you exactly how to practically apply them to be able to manage your time effectively as well. My favorite chapter from this book is Descent from the Kingdom of Noise. There is no doubt that we live in such a noisy world. There's so many distractions coming from all areas of our lives, whether it's from the computer or our phones or our family or the doorbell rings from a package being delivered. There are distractions happening all the time. And Jesus faced many distractions as well. I honestly consider this book to be an amazing tool and resource for biblical time management. Since receiving my copy of Redeeming Your Time, I have not put it into my bookshelf. It has honestly spent most of its time sitting on my desk because I go back to it often to remind myself of all of the principles and practices that Jordan shares within the book, so that way I know I am becoming better and more productive at managing my time. So one of the main things that Jordan teaches throughout his book is how to use a commitment tracking system. A commitment tracking system is exactly how it sounds. It is a system to manage and keep track of every commitment that you make, big or small. Commitments can be anything from projects at home or at work, errands that you need to run, chores that you need to do, responsibilities that you have at church, or even keeping track of your big goals that you want to do and accomplish down the road. So the next tool I want to share with you is the commitment tracking system that I set up to manage every single one of my commitments. The commitment tracking system that I chose to use personally is Todoist. I found that Todoist was one of the more affordable options out there, as well as still had all of the features that I needed in order to manage all of my tasks and projects effectively. So I want to give you a little tour of Todoist and exactly how I use it to track my commitments based on the practices that Jordan Raynor lays out inside of his book, Redeeming Your Time. Todoist is ultimately free. In today's video, I'm going to give you a quick overview of what Todoist looks like from the free version. However, I personally use their pro level membership, and if you're interested in trying out Todoist Pro, be sure to use my referral link in the show notes below because you'll be able to get 2 free months of Todoist Pro for yourself. This is basically where you will land once you create a Todoist account and open it up for the first time, as well as every every time that you come to Todoist, this is basically what it'll look like. Todoist does have a few different places you can access it from. You can always access it from the internet by going to Todoist.com. They do also have an app for the computer. In order to get that, you simply just need to click on your profile button up top and click download apps. You can also get their Todoist app for your phone. So let me show you a quick example of how I use Todoist in my own personal life as well as for my business. Simply coming into Todoist and using it first off just kind of like a to-do list, just dumping in all the things that I have made some level of commitment to, whether it's commitment I made to someone else, something I need to do for work, a project I need to do at home, an errand I need to run, so on and so forth. You can dump it all into your inbox to start out with. So for example, if I write something like blog post, I can do a few different things with this task. I can give it a description. Maybe I'll write the title here. I can also schedule it to say when I want it done by. I can also give it a tag to say, what is this task? Is it, I can make tags and labels of all different sorts of things. Personally, I have labels for how long the task might take. I also like to describe what kind of task it is. So this one specifically, I made this one already, but it is writing. So I can label it. I can also give it a priority level to say how important it is. So this will also allow me to see it bold. So I'll give it a priority 2. And then reminders are actually only available in one of the pro levels. But basically what reminders allow you to do is get reminders of when you need to do a project or work on something. I also get pop-up notifications on my phone when I reach certain destinations. So if I need to remember to pick something up from church when I go next time, I can type in the address as a reminder, and then my phone will use my location settings to say, hey, you are at church, don't forget to grab your muffin tin. Once I'm done kind of labeling the task, you just simply say add task, and you can easily go back, click into it, and edit any of this information for yourself. Now, after I have this task in here, simply just writing blog posts doesn't really help me out. What do I need to do in order to make sure that this project actually is complete? That's where subtasks come in. So I might write something for subtasks like write outline, write first draft, edit, send to Ashley, who's my virtual assistant. This is now my outline of what I need to do in order to say that this project is done. Now, I want the whole project to be done by Wednesday, but that means that I need to write the outline maybe tomorrow. I may write my very first draft. I'm going to make it on Monday. Then I'm going to do some editing on the 11th. And then that way I can send it to Ashley on the 12th. So now you can see here in the inbox, I have this whole project that I've created for writing this blog post. Now, you don't necessarily want to have all of your projects here in one place, just sitting in your inbox. Instead of keeping them here, I kind of use my inbox as all of my new and incoming commitments that I've made. And then I take time once a day to go and file away each of the tasks that I've put in here into their appropriate projects. Now, projects is another really cool feature that Todoist has. They are basically like folders. Now you can see over here, I've already created one of them called work, and I might take this project or this task and put it into this project. I can do it by like clicking and dragging it, or I can click into it here. I can click on these kind of little lines and then select the project that I want it to be housed under. So now it disappeared from my inbox and it is now housed over here in work. I recommend at the minimum making folders for work and personal. That way, while you're at work, you can open up that folder and see tasks that are dedicated just to work and that you don't get distracted by all of the other things that you need to do when you get home. And then when you're at home, you can put all of your projects away for work and just focus on the task that you need to do at home. To create a project, it's pretty simple. You just come over here and click on this plus button, name the project. You can actually give them colors, which is kind of fun. I color code all of mine for different reasons and different aspects to kind of show myself visually where all of these projects are housed. You can add it to your favorite if you want, and then they have two different ways of viewing how you see projects. So you can either use list or board. So list is like what you just saw out there, and I'll show you what board looks like. So this is what it looks like initially when you come into a project as a board view. You'll want to create different sections that will help you define what's going on. So you can either use it like a workflow, or you can use it to show kind of groupings of different types of projects. I personally use both, where I name a column something like in progress, up next, in the future, stuff like that. Or, for example, in one of my personal folders, I do have it set up to show me kind of like what things are errands, what things are chores, so on and so forth. All right, so this is what a project looks like in the board view. You can easily change it by clicking on View and selecting a different type. So you can easily view what kind of tasks you have today, as well as any that are upcoming, by going to the two different views over here. So this gives you kind of a calendar view of all the tasks that you have going on. Again, labels down here are super helpful. I highly recommend creating a variety of different labels and testing out different ones that will work best for you. Some of the ones that I do highly recommend are time amounts that it'll take to actually do each task. So I might create one that says 5 minutes. I might create one that's called deep work, which is basically anything where I need to be super focused. I also like to create labels that will tell me when certain projects need to be done. So if I think of something that needs to be done in March this year, I will label that under a March label so that I know that's going to happen that month. So then when March comes up, I can see if there's any specific projects or tasks that I need to be working on in that month alone. Filters can be really helpful as well. They basically help you filter out all of the different projects and tasks that you have in your Todoist account. If you want to be able to use filters, I definitely recommend learning more about how to use them. It's a newer feature that they started using, and I personally have a little bit of trouble figuring them out and how to get them to work because they're not as intuitive as some of their other features. But when I do actually get them to work, they're super helpful because basically, I'll give you an example. Inside of my personal Todoist, I have different filters here that will show me tasks that I have labeled as smaller as well as need to be completed this week. So I have two different labels that say small tasks, or I think it's general tasks. And then I also have a label that says this week. And so anything that has both of those labels will show up in my smaller weekly tasks, as well as any things that I've labeled with this week and priority 1 or priority 2. So that way I know what are the things I absolutely need to get done this week. The last thing I want to share with you is the Todoist templates that they have. They can actually be super helpful if you do certain projects very regularly. And so you can easily access all of Todoist templates by going to the project that will already be in your account when you start using Todoist, called Welcome, and then clicking on this link that says Kickstart your projects with templates. One of the templates that Todoist has that has been pretty helpful for me, I've kind of modified it for myself, is this one called Blog Post. So it basically gives you a workflow of how to go about writing a blog post. So it's actually really cool because Todoist has a bunch of different templates for very practical things that you are probably already doing in your work or personal life. Okay, so that's it for this quick little tour of Todoist. I hope you found it pretty helpful. And if you do still have questions about Todoist or a feature that they have or how something works, definitely let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to help you out. All right, that is it for today. I hope that you found this video really helpful in learning some new ways to manage all of the commitments that you have on your plate. I'd love to know what questions you have, whether it's about the book Redeeming Your Time or about using Todoist in your own life. So if you're ready to implement a commitment tracking system into your own life and you want to try out Todoist for yourself to see if it's the right product for you, be sure to use my referral link in the show notes below. It does get you 2 free months of pro membership on Todoist, so that way you can try out all of the awesome features and see if Todoist is right for you. Now that you've learned more about managing your time for the kingdom of God, if you're ready to start learning how to manage your money for the kingdom of God, I would encourage you to subscribe to my channel. I share lots of practical and biblical tips on how to manage your money in light of the gospel. All right, thanks so much. See you next time.